Okay, welcome back. Going by figures from the Global Terrorism Index, over 1,200 people were killed in 2014 as a result of clashes between Fulani herdsmen and farmers in different parts of Nigeria. In 2016, an estimated 2,500 people were killed. Just at the beginning of this new year, 2018, about 34 people were killed by suspected herdsmen in Benue State. Some other states like Adamawa, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Plateau, Delta, and others also experienced their share of herdsmen attacks, kidnapping, and other insecurity challenges. So, the new year has started. A lot of attention has been on Boko Haram, but some security experts are now of the opinion that the herdsmen-farmers crisis, if not nipped in the bud, could snowball into a monster that may be difficult to tame. So how can we achieve, security at to a certain level in Nigeria to ensure that every citizen is secured, and not just in the mind, but physically when you go out, you're sure that you will come back safely. When you sleep in your house, you're sure that, you wake up the next morning. We have two security experts in the house. In our Lagos studio, we have a security expert, Mr. Ladi Thompson. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Pleasure is mine.
And Happy New Year to you.
Oh, same to you.
And in our Abuja studio, we have the former director of the Department of State Security Service, Mr. Mike Ejiofor. Thank you also for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So since I'm with you, let's start with you. Year in, year out, even from time, before now, we've had security challenges, but it would seem like since, this last dispensation and, even right now, we're having more issues to deal with. What would you say are those reasons why the security issues keep coming up and, affecting Nigerians?
Well, thank you. I want to wish Nigerians a happy new year. Like you said, this issue of herdsmen is a very serious one to our country, Nigeria. In the sense that, like you said, right, we were contending with Boko Haram. And Boko Haram, even though we have not fully taken charge of defeating Boko Haram, we have known leaders of Boko Haram that government at least have been able to, one or two occasions, negotiated the release of the Chibok girls. But this issue of Fulani, the herdsmen, is a very big challenge. People quarrel that it should not be called Fulani herdsmen, but majority of these people are actually Fulanis. And that is not to say that all Fulani people are involved. Like is generally said, you see, they say Igbo people like money. It's a perception. Or Yoruba people like partying, Owambe. It's a perception. It's not that every of the tribe are peculiar to this very vice. But the problem now is that they have killed more people. These herdsmen have killed more people than the Boko Haram. And it's very worrisome. My worry is that we are yet to identify what are their aims and objectives. It goes beyond herdsmen and farmers clash. Because most times you see unprovoked attack, but the problem is that most of the attacks too are coordinated. Simultaneously, you see attack in Kaduna, you see in Adamawa, you see in Borno, you see everywhere, even in the southern states. So they are spread all over the country. My worry is that this might not be entirely herdsmen. I suspect very strongly too that these people are fleeing Boko Haram members who took to their heels when the military turned the heat in the northeast. Because the sophistication in which they operate, the arms they use, it calls to question what our intelligence services are doing, we should be able to identify these people. We should be able to know exactly their aims and objective, their structure, their leadership, what they want. Because MERCENARIES, the national body, has dissociated themselves from this, even though in Benue, for instance, they say they cannot obey the law. The MERCENARIES say they cannot obey the law. And at the same time, they say Fulani people are not involved. So it's a contradiction. It's a very big challenge that the government has to address.
Okay.
Mr.
Thompson, he mentioned here that he suspects that some of these attackers are not entirely herdsmen. Where or who could they be if they are not herdsmen, all herdsmen?
Well, actually, I think what we need to do is that we need to try to be as dispassionate as possible in looking at the whole picture. It's difficult because when you look at the number of people who are being killed and all that. But if we look at it with dispassion, what we need to first of all recognize is that when the Boko Haram was when it was sort of brought to book and their own violence was de-escalated, they were contained. Simultaneously, the headsmen, Fulani headsmen narrative began to mount. And he has rightly said something. If the Boko Haram was a blunderbuss or a Dane gun, this headsman problem is like a sniper rifle, high velocity, high caliber sniper rifle. It's actually a lot more dangerous. Its strike capacity already has made the Boko Haram look like child's play. The discipline in its ranks, it's obviously way higher than that of the Boko Haram. So if Nigeria if we really want to look at this thing, we need to first of all look at the fact that behind the headsman narrative, we need to look at the fact that this headsman problem predates the existence of Nigeria. And what you're looking at is obvious intelligence. You see, the rise of global terrorism, its structure is the structure of a hydra. And when you refuse to recognize that there's a lot of intelligence behind it, you run into the kind of problems that Nigeria is running into. We are being beaten by masters of the game. What you're dealing with here, like you heard him mention, because of the coordination of the attacks, the quality and caliber of what they are using, their method, actually the most telling thing actually is their good press. The effective management of media is such that they are killing more people, but the temperature of the country is not rising as fast as it rose when the Boko Haram was strongly in contention. So obviously you're dealing here with somebody who is learning, who is watching, very intelligent, and is headed towards someplace. I said it's a convenient narrative. I don't want to really believe. It's like you find out that the Fulanese had been kidnapping, killing, like I mentioned once before, Ajayi Crowther, the famous Samuel Ajayi Crowther in 1821 was kidnapped by Fulani headsmen. So we're talking about something that has a narrative behind it. I have been to areas where they've struck before. I've looked at what is going on. I've seen the dynamics between the Fulanese that are settled and have mixed with the Nigerian populace, and we've seen those who are coming in and are hiding in the rocks, hiding in the caves. But the truth about it all is that when you look at the logistics, you look at their timing, you look at their armory, you look at their modus operandi, you cannot but know that Nigeria is dealing with a very intelligent foe who understands Nigeria very well and is using all the loopholes and all the cracks to strike terror in a much worse way. I mean, like he mentioned, we're talking about herdsmen striking as deep as the southwest, which the Boko Haram could not manage to do. So don't forget also that within the ancient Fulani stock, they have a leadership capacity that is a part of the training. So what you see here is that somebody obviously has looked at Nigeria, looked at 1804, looked at 1821, looked all through, and I said, wait a minute, this Boko Haram, they attract too much attention, the soldiers are unruly, they're not doing very well, so why don't we just shift the head to a more efficient army?
Okay, Dr. Thompson, just hold it there. When we come back, we'll look at that issue of moving to a more efficient army and what should Nigeria be doing. Please don't go away.